So in our audio room a couple of weeks ago, I was saying how vital it is for us to be exposed to the right information, because then, like you were saying before also, that continues to condition us, because the best thing for you to do is not to hear. The moment you hear, you cannot unhear what you have heard. So it is good that we sort of condition ourselves to see to hear the right information, because then you cannot avoid it. You need to act on it. You cannot pretend that you need to hear it. So I would say, giving an example before, then of course I'm going to ask you a question related to that when you see an eagle that is giving birth to the young eagle, of course, that is hatched, the egg, and you put it side by side by the young chicken that is hatched, they are the same. They are just exactly the same. But what if you allow the young eagle, the eaglet, to come and live along the chicken, and the eagle grow up like the chicken? They are fed the same information. So the question I was asking is, do you think the eagle will fly? The people of African descent that are living in the diaspora are told that their history started from slavery. The same people went to Africa that told the African people, of course, through educational system, that our history in Africa started from colonialism. What a shame. They cut out several thousands of our history and they replaced it with just a small fraction of incident and call that our history. You see, this video was created for the purpose of adding value to you. So if this video make any sense to you, let me know in the comment section below. I'm interested in understanding what you take away from this video and if it makes sense to you, so we can provide more. Now let's return to the video.
Like I couldn't have the things that I really wanted. I appreciated nature. I appreciated a lot of things. I wasn't looking for a lot of material possessions, and it's not about that for me still to this day. But you really have to be mindful of the way you perceive things, our perceptions. Several people can look at the same situation and have a whole different perception about it. They can all experience the same thing. One person can say, like for example, people say, "Well, my parents treated me in a bad way, so I'm going to take that and decide to do better than they did, and I'm going to build on that, and every generation gets better and better and better." Or you could say, "Oh, woe is me. I didn't get what it is I needed as a child or throughout my life, so I'm a victim. I'm going to stay in this victim mindset where the world is always against me. Even if it is, you can push past that and become a victor and seek victory and count your blessings every day of what you have, and look to not only bless yourself but others, and be a part of the solution as opposed to just focusing on the problem." Oh, if every day your mind says, "I experience these bad things happen to me, my life is bad," and that's all you ever talk about, that's all you ever, um, your perspective is fixated on the problem, then we rarely get to the solution. We rarely push past that. And some people get caught up in that. And even our society, like the welfare system is set up today, even though the majority of people on welfare are not Black. But, when we look at the way it's set up, if you are on welfare, which is where the government in the US is giving you a monthly stipend to live on, you can survive on that. You're not going to eat well. You're going to eat junk mostly. You'll survive you probably have a shorter life as well. You don't necessarily have to work much. So it's set up to where if you try to get a job, if you went to school and got a higher education level and sought out things, and they would take you off of it probably prematurely. to where you're afraid that if you do too well, you make too much money, you are doing extra things, then they're going to take it all away from you, and you're solely dependent on yourself, as opposed to gradually releasing you from it or setting you up for success. They set you up to where you're afraid to do too much too soon and lose that support system. Now you're out there on your own, and if and people are still living check to check. Whereas one thing goes wrong, you're back where you started. And so, right. So, right, it's a matter of the way things are really set up. Are they really set up for you to actually thrive?
All right, now I'm trying to see the story here because we are coming back to it again. I'm talking of story. I'm talking of information, the information that we are exposed to. So in our audio room a couple of weeks ago, I was saying how vital it is for us to be exposed to the right information, because then, like you were saying before, also that continue to condition us, because the best thing for you to do is not to hear. The moment you hear, you cannot unhear what you have heard. So it is good that we sort of condition ourselves to hear the right information, because then you cannot avoid it. You need to act on it. You cannot pretend that you need to hear it. So I would say, giving an example before, then of course I'm going to ask you a question related to that. That when you see an ego that is giving birth to the young ego, of course, that is hatched in the egg, and you put it side by the young chicken that is hatched, they are the same. They are just exactly the same. But what if you allow the young ego, the eaglet, to come and live along the chicken, and the ego grow up like the chicken? They are fed the same information. So the question I was asking is, do you think the ego will fly? It probably would never fly, because it will act based on the information around that, okay, this is who we are, this is what we do. It probably would see ego flying in the air, but it wouldn't know that that is the ego. Now, the background from where I was drawing out this analogy was the importance of us as people of African descent and people of African in the diaspora to know about our gallant history. Because if we don't, we will believe the lies that are told to the African American, and the same version of it reversed, told to the same African by, of course, the middleman, who in this case are the Europeans. That, for example, the people of African descent that are living in the diaspora are told that their history started from slavery. Then, the same people went to Africa and told the African people, of course, through educational system, that our history in Africa started from colonialism. What a shame. They cut out several thousands of our history and they replaced it with just a small fraction of incident and called that our history. And now, guess what? If we never move beyond that, we will always act based on that. Of course, you are an expert in education. You understand how education can be effective for us, but it can also condemn us depending on how we use that. So where I'm going here is the power of information, in this case, talking about storytelling. How much effective is it? How much importance should we place on our story, or the art of storytelling, as it were? Please help me.
Well, Shuja talks about the distinction between schooling and education. You can't call what we're receiving colonial schools education. Education is meant to uplift you, to give you the tools you need to be able to think for yourself, to develop critical consciousness, meaning a level of consciousness that's critical, able to look at the world through multiple lenses, able to think about how your actions affect other people. You operate with the philosophy of Ubuntu, which is one of the terms that speaks to the idea of I am, because we are that we do not operate in this world alone. We exist as a collective. We operate as a collective. I am only in existence because you exist as well. So we acknowledge one another. We affirm one another. I'm not going to make a decision that I know will harm you. I'm going to look and do things that are going to benefit the collective and other people outside of me, because I'm not thinking about just myself. I'm thinking about the whole, because I know I don't operate alone. I don't live alone.
Hi, and thank you for checking out this short clip from Obehi Podcast. I'm Obehi Ewanfo, the host of the Obehi Podcast. This short clip was created from a full episode where we dive deep into this conversation. To see the entire video, all you need to do is to click on the link in the description of this video. Now, while you are there, I want to share something with you quickly. Are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Do you want to cut across the noise and attract the right audience, leveraging the power of storytelling? Now, pay attention. I'm currently working on a signature program to help you own your story and stand out for the competition. It's a 5-step journey to help reshape your professional and business narrative so you can drive success and stand out in the competition. And in less than 90 days. The link is what you see on your screen, academy.aclasses.org/story. Now, this is what we have understood. Storytelling is the most powerful instrument that is known to man. And this is what this could mean to you. You could either choose to own your story and leverage it to amplify your message and whatever you represent in this world, or some other person could own that story. The choice is yours. So why don't take advantage of your story and use it wherever you are, whether you are in business environment or you are a professional individual who want to be able to build your influence and leave a legacy behind because you represent something. You are owning your story. You are somebody whose story is important. So the choice again is yours. Now let's get started with this short clip.